episode of the Houses That Horror Built. And this is going to be a good one because, as you can tell, the name of the film almost matches our show. Set one word, switch it, and hey, but that's why we kind of picked it. I am here joined with horror author extraordinaire Radar. Buddy, are you ready for this long movie?
Oh, I'm ready, and you are correct. It is long.
It is too long. Yes, we are going to be talking about The House That Jack Built, 2018, written and directed by this director. Likes to write long, very long scripts, and he did it to this one. But this movie is directed by Lars von Trier. It stars Matt Dillon as Jack, Bruno Ganz as Verge, and a quick special appearance by Umathurman, known as Lady One.
This may be a mistake.
What was maybe a mistake?
Me getting in this car with you. You might as well be a serial killer. Sorry, but you do kind of look like one.
When I think about all the things I've done in my life without in any way resulting in punishment.
I didn't realize that was the character's name is Lady One. That's hilarious.
Lady One. Yeah, what a great scene with that one. So, what exactly is this specific film about? Well, we have a struggling architect and sociopath, Jack, who recants and narrates in 5 separate incidents, well, about himself and how he had these elaborate plans of killing, well, because he's a serial killer. So let me actually right off the bat. I mean, this film is crazy. It's nuts. But of course, the theme of this show is houses or homes. And well, gotta ask you, Radar, which of these houses or homes that we visited during any of these incidents in this film was your particular favorite scene?
It's funny because there's 3 of them, 3 out of the 5 have houses or homes involved with them. But the first and third don't. And my favorite of all of those 5 is the third one, just because it's so bleak and brutal. And it really just like the first 2, like one of them, the first one, he's not necessarily, you can tell he's not a good guy, but it's not like you could probably run into this dude. Like, have a bad day, this could probably happen to you. The second one, it's a little creepier, but it's not as despicable. But the third one, because of what goes on in it, it just cements him as just this awful human being. And like I think from then on, you're just like, can someone just kill this dude? What a cocky asshole. This dude needs to get taken care of. And just the horrific stuff he does in the third one, because it's like, there's a taboo line that he crosses.
Yeah.
Which I think it's weird in society where we're like, he killed a lady. Well, that happens all the time. But like, in the third one, spoilers, he kills some kids. And it's like, oh, that's a bridge definitely too far.
Yeah.
But what about you? What do you think of the third one, and which one was your favorite if it wasn't the third one?
I think the third one was pretty brutal because this showed that he had no boundaries no boundaries at all. He could portray this character that's, fatherly, loving, and then flip the switch and say, hey, we're going to go hunting. By the way, you guys are where I'm going to hunt. And I give the film credit in a way because it didn't show the kids actually being shot, which when it got to that point in the film, I'm like, oh, please don't show the kids actually being shot. The fact that, he didn't do that, I thought I was like, all right, that's cool. I'm glad because, unless it's some zombie kid or some vampire kid or some monster kid, that's different. But these kids, no. I mean, that part was very, very disturbing. For me, I kind of like the fourth incident because
Oh, interesting.
he has a conversation about, and this is after he killed the kids and the woman, where he's like, oh, I couldn't basically be tied down with emotions. Oh, by the way, I had a romance.
Yeah.
And then goes to this woman's house, Jacqueline. And it's a weird relationship because he just talks down to her, and she was more worried about, are you going to leave me? I have a feeling you're going to leave me.
Right.
And then he sits down, and he keeps calling her simple. She goes, oh, I hate when you call me that. And he goes, well, your parents must have been simple because they named you Jacqueline. I mean, how simple is that? She goes, well, can we just have a different conversation? Can we just talk about something different? And like what you do? And the fact that he sat there, he goes, what I do? All right, I killed 60 people.
Yeah.
And she laughs it off. She laughs it off, and then lo and behold, he does one of the most horrific things I've seen in the movie in a long time. I mean, the fact that he had this woman remove her shirt, and he's sketching around her boobs.
Oh, jeez.
And well, I don't want to say what he did, but just to say he used the boobs as props in the later scene. But yeah, I mean that scene right there was because you thought he was going to turn around. In reality, she triggered him. The minute she asked him something personal, he went a whole different route. And I got to talk about this too because we're used to seeing Matt Dillon in different films. I remember him more for Something About Mary, where he played a great role. And then this is going to make me feel old, but you see in the movie The Outsiders, based on the book, he was in the film known as Dallas, a badass who, showed signs of caring, but in reality, he was just a tough kid. But the question I have for you is like I said, we've seen Matt Dillon in many films. What did you think about his portrayal of the character Jack?
I honestly love one. I think it's great script writing too. So I think Matt Dillon got a nice boost from that. But I think he plays the perfect sort of sociopath who just hates everyone and just doesn't care. Now, for this movie, most of his ire is focused on women, but he does a fantastic job of portraying someone that just thinks he's above everyone else, which I think is what a lot of serial killers believe they are, and I think the perfect example too is that he's such an unreliable narrator throughout the film, because like you were talking about, with the fourth one, there's no way in hell that this girl would let him, he would say that and she would just go, haha, and laugh it off like normally. Clearly his retelling of the story, there's something getting missed there in translation. And I think that's also the case with the first one too, because Uma Thurman's character seems just completely dim-witted and ready to go along with it. So he does a fantastic job though of just playing that right amount of being just in the right instances, being kind of charismatic enough to kind of weasel his way on in. But then when he shows his true colors, it gets pretty terrifying. And I think he did a fantastic job. But I don't watch too many movies with Matt Dillon. I don't know, where does this rank for you in your filmography of Matt Dillon?
Well, I'll be honest. I mean, I like the Dallas character in The Outsiders. I mean, it's a great film. If you guys want to watch it, definitely watch it. It's based off a book. Very good book. And Something About Mary. I mean, he played an a-hole.
I forgot about that too.
Yeah, he played an a-hole who, I'm not going to repeat the line he said when he's talking to Cameron Diaz's character about, kids with special needs, but it's a meme that's shown a lot when people talk about coworkers. But for me, I gotta say, I thought this was one of his best serious roles. His portrayal of Jack is so well done, and like you were saying, the fact that you can't trust the narrative he's saying because he's an arrogant serial killer, and anybody near him is basically below him. Like the first incident with Uma Thurman. I thought that was hysterical in a way because she had it right on the money. She's in the car with a serial killer, and she keeps pressing him. Oh, you're not a serial killer because you would have taken that jack and you could have did something with it. And she's like pressing him and pressing him, pressing him to the point where it was like he wanted just to get the hell away from her.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, Ben will take care of your car, and when you're done, he'll give you right back. Oh no, you could wait, you could wait, you could wait. He waits for her. She gets back in the car. And he ends up smashing her in the face with it. And then the other scene too, I thought was pretty good is the second incident where he goes to the woman's house. He's trying to do his best to get into the house, where he tells her he's a cop, then lies, say he's an insurance agent, then tells her he's a cop again. He portrays these different characters just to get in the house.
I think that was really good too, because like it's so awkward when he gets called out on it. But just like the fact that he's able to do this weird sort of like, it's a seamless transition, like in his like body language and how he talks to, of going to, well, actually, ma'am, and he goes into the insurance agent. And he's like trying to play it off. It's so perfect.
Oh my God. When he starts bravo, clapping the hands, that's the answer we wanted. The one thing I like in that incident is when, after he kills her, because he kills her, then he's almost like apologizing to her.
Yeah.
Then he props her up on the chair to take pictures.
So interesting.
But there's one scene where that scene where he's taking the pictures, and then they pan to the left, and between the curtains in the window, you see the full moon, which I thought that was pretty cool, pretty good scene. Because they show the full moon, and everybody knows when you see a full moon, it's werewolves, the beast is out,
right?
The monsters, roaming. And then the fact that the cop goes back to the house and he's talking to the cop about, oh, you make sure that this scene does not get. Now he's telling the cop how to do his job. And then he takes off and he has her tied in a body bag or garbage bag. He's dragging her down the street.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's that scene it was probably the least gruesome like of the 5 for sure, but it somehow managed to be so entertaining. Just with the weird sort of awkward moments, or just the light tension and everything throughout it.
Oh my God. Yeah, it was very good. Yeah, very well done. I did not know what to expect, when I see him as the main star actor in this film, but it was definitely, he surprised me. I mean, and this is what I think obsessed me as a horror fan more than anything is he gave such a great performance, but why was he not nominated at least for something? Right. And I think, and then there's a podcast I was on with Scarystories TV, and this is a conversation where horror movies don't get enough credit, the actors and actresses, because there's some films where there's some tremendous, acting being done. These characters portrayed, and he should have been nominated for something because definitely a good performance. Now, the film is called The House That Jack Built. Now we get glimpses throughout this film of this house he's trying to build, to the point where he's struggling with his own drawing, his own architecture of the house, while he's narrating part of the story. But towards the end of this film, the house that we thought he was building this whole time wasn't exactly the one that he was trying to finish. So, Radar, this scene leads up to the climax of the film, where you have all these bodies that he's putting into this massive freezer. Which, quick thing, there was one scene where he walks into the freezer while he's bringing the kids.
Oh, right.
Into the freezer, and there's a bunch of people still alive, and they go, "We're cold. I think this guy's dead. We're freezing." So he puts like a little tarp over them. He goes, of course you guys are cold. You're in the freezer. But we get to see him talk to his character, Verge. And this is where Jack finally builds his house. Could you elaborate to the viewers exactly what house he was building?
Well, he was building one human-sized house. Well, like it's like the scene in Jeepers Creepers where they go down in that tunnel, and then Justin Long's character finds out how many bodies are there. It just seems so reminiscent of that, except it's, more realistic because it's done with just people and by a regular dude. I mean, it's a great thing to like have the film build towards that moment. I think that was well done, but I know there's stuff that comes later on, so I don't want to just go off on a rant about that part of it. But I think that part was really well done. What about you? Or, we'll get into, I guess, the last half later on.
Well, I did not expect him to be building a house with the human bodies that he killed. I mean,
ingenuity.
And the fact that he was an architect. He built, and the thing is, it just shows you how much of a struggling architect he was. Where when he finally built a house with all the wiring he did with the human bodies, he looks at Verge and he goes, "How's that look?" And then Verge gets up, starts grabs the body. Well, the foundation's pretty good. I mean, and this leads to it was a great twist to the film because I did not expect that at all. And I liked how they pan back and they show like a small, house, like a small cabin of the body, just freaking human bodies held up by wiring. And as this is happening, we have the police who finally found out where he is, trying to drill through the big freezer to get in. Now, the character Burge tells them, "All right, are you ready?" And they go into the house, and this is where the movie just goes on a whole different turn. I mean, what did you think about the turn the film did as far as the visit to hell?
Oh, Lars, you crazed man. I love the risks he takes, but sometimes he throws stuff in there that's just like, you're killing me, bud. And this, unfortunately, I think he shot himself in the foot with the true ending. Because, we mentioned it before we started recording, but I mean, you're absolutely spot on. It should have ended with the cops drilling in, and then it should have been ambiguous. But instead, we end up going into the afterlife and all of this sort of stuff, and we get an extra 10 to 15 minutes of film with them just walking about and talking.
Yeah, definitely.
It's not what I want in my serial killer movie,
I did not either. I mean, we reviewed this on Three Corners of Horror, and I said the same thing. I mean, I'm not a fan of an ending like this. I just feel like you're definitely prolonging the movie. I mean, he's a serial killer. He killed a bunch of people. We all know he's going to hell. Do we really need to see his visit into hell?
Right, the actual descent.
I didn't need to see that. I didn't care for it. I think by the time this journey started, I started journeying to sleep because I did not want to see the rest of it. I watched the rest of it because we had to review it. But yeah, I mean, why?
It's already so long too because it's over 2 hours by that point.
Yeah, and the vagueness we both like vagueness in films. Keep it vague. Leave it up to the viewer to decide how the movie ends. I mean, and then you could have left it open. It goes in, gunshot. Like, all right, did he live? Did he die? And at this point, doesn't matter because now it's vague and the viewer can make their own choice. But yeah, that whole journey into hell was just like, was a journey into hell of boredom because, yeah, I mean, Lars, I give you credit. I mean, it is a great script you wrote. This film does have very good dialogue and narration, and I'm a fan of films that have like certain narrations in certain parts of the film. But the fact that this was a film of a serial killer basically confessing, talking about how he did these elaborate killings, and like you said before, like all the killings were so different, and I think that's why I enjoyed the film too. Is like it's a variety of the brutality that he was able to do. I mean, Uma Thurman smashed in the face by Jack. The second woman, he stabbed and choked her. No, he choked her to death.
Yeah, just choked her. It was much more subtle, that one. Yeah.
And then he choked another woman to death because there was two women he choked to death. and then it was the two kids and the woman he killed, which I think
Yeah.
were they his wife and kids?
I think it was just like a girlfriend and her kids. I think
Yeah, 'cause
so.
I don't remember. Then Jacqueline was he. I mean, her death was the most
Jeez.
brutal. Well, one of the most brutal of all of them. But yeah, it was definitely an interesting film and definitely an interesting house that he built. You got any closing thoughts on this one?
And I would say that I think, this is one of those films that I truly believe if it had just been shorter, it probably would have gotten a hell of a lot more recognition. As horror fans, look, if that sucker is running anywhere past 90 minutes, we start to lose focus. That's just how we're wired with all our movies. And I mean, particularly with this too, because it's more nuanced, I get it, and more artistic than a slasher, but man, slashers, they go quick. So I think that's part of why this one doesn't get talked about as much as it should. I mean, it was talked about for like a year or two once it came out, but then the fizzle just went. So what about you? Got any closing arguments on this bad boy?
I agree. I mean, I like the whole narration part. I like the fact that it was broken down to 5 incidents, 5 chapters, and how each chapter was different from the other. And the narrative was constantly growing. The narrative did do its part in the film of storytelling, character building, and it was definitely. I never expected this type of film, and like Lars, I'm kind of like, I'll be honest, I'm hesitant sometimes watching this film because I know they're going to be long, and I have to prepare myself with coffee, probably some soda at the same time, as much sugar as possible. But his movies are good. I'm not knocking him. This is a good movie. If it wasn't for the runtime, I agree with you 100% on that. A little bit shorter would have been a lot better, and people would appreciate Matt Dillon's performance in this film.
Yeah,
And the fact that we got only a couple minutes of Uma Thurman and she died in the beginning was something I did not expect, and great twist on that one too.
Oh yeah, that's so nice. That's the twist with Scream kind of where Barrymore dies in like 5 minutes in.
Yeah,
I love it.
I know what Tarantino was thinking because what that woman went through in Kill Bill,
right?
And then she got off pretty good, but going off tangent. But yeah, this is actually a pretty good film. I think it's on AMC Plus right now and on Hulu.
Yep.
Watch it. Just know it is a very long film. So
yeah,
my suggestion to you, if you want to watch the ending, watch the ending. But the minute he goes into the house of human bodies, you could just cut it there if you want. Yeah. Just make your own ending for it. But yeah, I mean that's it for what I got. This is a fun one to talk about.
For sure. There's not every day you get to talk about a house made of human bodies. So kudos.
Yes. So that's it for me, JR, and my co-host Radar. The house that horror built. Is your casa one that you want us to talk about? Let us know why. Comment below. Don't forget, like, share, subscribe. We have more coming your way as we will start visiting some of the oldies pretty soon, which I know Radar is very excited about.
That's what I'm here for.
Oh, yeah. So that is it. I did not freeze. I just want to see if you guys were paying attention. This is JR Radar, Horror Fiend TV.
Peace.